Right, everybody, welcome back to Yeah But Why. My name's Connor.
My name's Joe.
And today we've got a cool guest, which is Simon. Simon, I've seen that on your intros, you don't, or on a podcast I listen to, you don't really like talking about what you do or telling people. It's a bit of an awkward subject, I think I've seen. So I'm going to do my best to summarize, who you are, and then maybe you can fill in the gaps.
Okay, sounds good.
So Simon, I've followed Simon for a while, and I think he makes probably the best gym equipment in the world, the highest quality. But as I found out today, as we've toured his facility, which is just incredible, Joe, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just insane. He's a whole lot more. You're into property as well, and I don't know if you can fill in and summarize more.
So about the company. So yeah, I probably feel a bit modest and don't like to feel. So Watson Gym Equipment is my company that I started in 1999. It was a hobby. It was it was literally a hobby. I never thought, right, I'm going to start a company, I'm going to take on employees and grow this thing to where we are now and beyond. It was just a bit of fun. It was something I wanted to do. I was, from when I was young, I was always into making things. At school, I was bad at everything apart from metalwork, loved metalwork, loved anything where I was kind of, technical in making things. So probably if you asked any of my teachers at school, they would have said I'm not really going to amount to anything, which probably helped me as well, try and push on and try and achieve something. But yeah, I was always good at making things, loved metalwork, left school and worked for the MOD at Boscombe Down, which is a military aircraft experimental place. So I was doing an apprenticeship where I looked after, maintained the aircraft that would do the testing.
Yeah.
So I was trained to work on military aircraft, which was a really good grounding for engineers. It gave me a really good knowledge. But it was a massive company, so I always felt like I was just a tiny part of this big machine. So I didn't really have any impact. So I did the standard thing that all the apprentices did. I did a 4-year apprenticeship, stayed on for another 4 years, and then went off traveling. It was like what everyone seemed to do.
Yeah.
So when I was 24, I left there, went traveling, did the usual Middle East, Asia, Australia, and America. So I traveled for a year and a half. In that time, I kind of got my head around the idea that I wanted to do something for myself. I just didn't know what. I wanted to do something where I did have a bit of direct impact, not work for some great big company.
In that time, did you have any sort of ideas that were different to this, that you sort of thought you might have gone down, or?
No, and it's weird looking back that I didn't, because I was always into my training since school. Always been into my training, love training, but I never put the two together. I knew it'd be something engineering related. But when I came back from traveling, I got a job for a company that reconditions big industrial food equipment, and that's where I learned to weld. And that's where I kind of, and it was a small company. I think there's only about 12 of us there. So everyone had a really direct impact on what we're doing. Anything you did had a big impact. And it was a busy company, so you were busy all the time, and there was pressure to get things done quickly, which I found that I really enjoyed, having the pressure on to make things as quickly as you could. I really enjoyed that.
Could I ask about what was your first gym equipment, and why did you choose that as the first gym equipment that you made?
The first thing I made?
Yeah, the first thing I made
was a very simple bench, flat, no uprights, just a basic flat bench.
Okay.
And I've got pictures somewhere of it. Yeah. That was the very first thing I made. But yeah, back on
The refrigeration.
So well, it was a very small company. You had a big impact. I knew I wanted to do something, and I remember there was this. It was quite a small group of guys. Everyone always winds each other up. Typical male environment, And I remember once, knowing I wanted to do something, I thought I'd wind the guys up by writing on a bit of paper this supposedly my company that I was doing as a sideline, Bristol so I can't remember. Wrote this name on a bit of paper, and I wrote like a PO from this company, this generator company, ordering these frameworks from me. It had like 50 generator frames at £500 each, and it was like this order for £20,000 or something, and I accidentally dropped it by the guys I was working with. And then for the next week, they obviously saw it and thought I had this little sideline going. And they were like getting really interested in it. I said, it's actually quite good. How did you manage to get that? And I was like, making all this stuff up. And I remember thinking, like, getting really sad to one point. So I thought, actually, it would have been amazing if it was true. If I really did have this little company where I'd got this great order, that would have been really good. And I got a bit fed up and then had to tell them, actually, it's a load of rubbish. But that definitely was one of the things that then pushed me to think, I definitely have to do something. I love the thought of creating something myself and then people actually buying it from me. I really, so I had all these seeds in my head. And then one day I woke up and thought, yeah, gym equipment, definitely, that's what I need to do. So back then it was like pre-internet. So there was magazines where people advertised general things. So I found the companies that I could within the UK that made gym equipment. I think they're all gone now. I can't remember what they're called, but got their brochures and leaflets and things and just kind of studied it for a few weeks and just got a bit of a feel for how it all worked. And then as quickly as I could, found a tiny little place, bought the welder, which I showed you, and some very basic equipment, and just started making things, made the bench, made the flat bench. It was hand sprayed with tins of paint, literally. I made that bench. I made another bench afterwards with Olympic bar uprights.
Yeah.
And then I think it was at that point I'd spoken to somebody who wanted a leg press. There was a gym not too far from here. They wanted a leg press, and that was the first proper machine that I then made. I took a deposit and spent the next 4 weeks trying to figure out how to make this machine.
So I heard the story about you going into different gyms and measuring different leg presses.
Yeah. Well, for a long time, even like a bench, a standard bench, it's like, how high should it be? You don't want too high. You want ideally your knee above your waist. But I didn't know if there was some standard you had to work to. So it was such a big learning curve initially, kind of studying what's around there. And
in terms of material, from when you started to now, what is the difference? Like, what did you start with in terms of material?
In terms of basic materials, we're still the same.
The same.
Box section is always how we produce things. A lot of companies use oval tube, which personally I don't like the look of. I like our kind of engineered look.
Okay.
So if you look at our very old stuff, you can see it's old, and you can see the design hasn't, it needs work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically the same. It's made from the same components. But now with the machinery we've got, we can just do much more elaborate things, and we can, rather than just cut something straight, we can give it nice shape and scallops and things, and make it really suit what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Going slightly back, to the order that you made with the what was it, refrigeration or generator thing?
So I didn't have that one. That was completely made up.
Is that like a Jim Carrey thing where he said he was going to earn £1 million, put it in his back pocket, and one day he did? Was it a manifestation?
I know. Well, I love that story. No, this was purely to wind up the guys. I see.
Okay.
Just to wind up, because everyone was saying, I'm going to set something up. A lot of people did leave there and set up their own food equipment companies, some of which are still going now.
Cool.
I wanted to do something different, and I kept saying that I don't want to just do the same. I want to do something unique.
Yeah.
That's why I had this idea. I know I'll wind them up and drop this bit of paper with this little fabrication shop somewhere, and somebody had ordered all these generator frames from me.
That's really funny.
I can so clearly remember the point of me laughing in my head at everyone, to then thinking, actually, I'm really pissed off now because I haven't got it. It's all made up, but I wish I did have it. And then
so that sort of pain is what kind of kicked you to like.
It's one of the things. There's a few things like when I look back, I think, that's kind of set me on track.
Yeah.
For that, my mum had a business. There's all these little things along the way that when you look back, think, that's what put me on that path, rather than just the standard find a job and work for somebody else.
How long did it take you to grow into your vision? So, I mean, some people, when they start, they have a real clear vision about where they're going, and then some people just start and then it evolves. So, what were you? Were you sort of at the evolving part?
No vision at all. It was, as I said before, it was a hobby. It was literally a hobby. I knew I'd really enjoy making gym equipment, love gyms, love making things. And it was always, if I can sell something and make some money as well, that would be great.
Yeah.
But I think even if I didn't sell anything, if I could find a way to buy the raw materials and just keep making it and even giving it away, I would have done that for a long, long
And just
time.
worked your job and just...
Yeah, it was fun of making something and then seeing it go into a gym and people get on and use it. It was so rewarding. It was yeah.
Can you remember a time when it was like you saw some like a big client or somebody you considered as big? What was your first like client where you were like, crap, this is doing something?
Yeah, there was a few of those, and along the way they get bigger and bigger. So initially, if somebody orders 3 machines, even a couple of, because I was doing specialist bars right at the start as well. I was one of the first people doing trap bars.
Okay.
I had the four-sided, so it was called a shrug bar.
Yeah.
So if somebody ordered a couple of those and a bench, that was quite a big order. And then later on, if somebody orders 10 machines, that was a big order. So you always, that never goes away. I think even now we've had big chains of gyms. We're dealing with some big high-end hotels and places like that at the minute, that when you get in one, you then fulfill all their gym needs. So things like that are big even now.
I saw a high-end fit out, I think in Dubai. Was it Dubai gym or maybe London? It was like
quite a few in Dubai.
Yeah.
There's Raw, which is in London initially. We did 2 sites there, and now Dubai as well.
Yeah, that was an amazing facility.
Yeah.
So as we see where we are now, this is, today. How long did it take you to evolve? What was the process like going through the growth,
Yes, we've kind of evolved because we've had to, but luckily not from the start, but 3 or 4 years in, we got to a point where orders were coming in regularly, and there was a lead time. We couldn't make equipment quick enough to keep up with what's coming in, which is kind of where you want to be, because then that drives you to increase capacity and grow. If you always have the orders coming in that you can cope with, then you kind of stay there. There's no need to grow. So yeah, 4 years in, I realized how to employ people, because the first couple of years it was just me. So started employing people, started looking at more efficient ways of doing things, but without the money to be able to invest in equipment. So we just had to look at clever ways of doing things in a more efficient way. So when you look at like our timeline, very, very flat for sort of 4 or 5 years, and then starts ramping up as we just started thinking about what we're doing and becoming better. Because for years, you're just learning the very basics of the industry. And then as you get to know things, you get better and better. So very flat. Then we started improving. I started learning about business, not just what I was doing, selling gym equipment. I started actually learning about business, went to seminars and things about how business should really work and how money works. And then that had a big effect, mindset as well. Went to seminars on your mindset and how you picture where you are and where you want to be, and goal setting and things. So that had a big impact. Then we started ramping up. And then as we ramped up, we managed to make profits where we could hold profits rather than just our profits went into funding future growth. We could actually hold profits and then invest in machinery. So then when we started investing in machines that made us more efficient, then we really started ramping up very quickly. And I've always put profits back into the business rather than taking out. I think we said before about just being patient, not blowing it all on a Ferrari or something straight away. You just be patient and keep putting back in. And luckily, I've always really enjoyed seeing the business grow. So I'm happy to put the money back in rather than just spend it on myself. And that's when we really ramped up. So the last 10 years, we've been growing quite quickly.
So I guess you get to that stage where you are now, or maybe a bit further on, where like you've got surplus money to invest in the business, keep fueling the growth, and also you can then, do the nice holidays, do the nice things.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got to wait for that time,
You have to be patient. Yeah, and we were saying how social media makes people impatient. They want to show how incredibly they're doing straight away, and you've just got to hold back. I think, hold back as long as you can.
Yeah,
and buy assets, not liabilities.
That's what was so interesting to me. Like, I didn't realize that aspect to you. Obviously, I knew the business and stuff. Didn't realize how big it was, but also that you own the buildings and you've built the buildings out yourself. That's like another string to the bow of the business, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's one thing. Stress. I can really cope with stress, and I like when there's pressure on. I love that. The only stress I don't like is financial. When you think you owe everybody money, you're desperate to get work in to be able to pay all these people. Don't like that at all. So from early on, we built the business where we own everything. We make some money and then buy it. So even the prop, like the factory there, bought the land ourselves, did the build ourselves, and then we own it. We've got nobody, chasing us down for money.
Yeah,
and
it's
it puts me in a much more comfortable place. And then I can focus on the things I really want to focus on.
Did you have any like times where, I'm sure you did, starting a business, but where those financial pressures were,
Oh, massively. Yeah. I mean, at the start, it's very up and down. So especially when it was only me, I'd be chasing work, trying to find some orders because they wouldn't just come to me. I'd have to go and find work. Then I'd be busy trying to find out how to make it and making it. So then I stopped finding work because I got some work, make it, deliver it, and then that's great. Money comes in, but now I've got to find work again. So it's up and down all the time. 1 minute you've just been paid, and you think, great, I got loads of money, and then you pay.
Next is gone.
Nothing left, so you have to start again. It took a long time before that really flattened out.
Almost like a hand to mouth kind of thing for your personal life to start with.
Yeah,
but the business was just.
I think that's normal really for most.
Yeah.
Starting, unless you get investment, and which is a route I didn't want to go down.
But then you got your stresses.
Start very small and slowly build up. I mean, I think we could be way ahead of where we are now if we took investment. We could grow much faster. But I like it like this.
But also as well, like you say, people get caught up with the numbers as well, but it's only the headline numbers which get,
all that matters.
You don't see any debt, you don't see any, liabilities, do you? It's
exactly.
only,
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's,
But our focus is always customer. Fine. If you just put everything into what the customer wants and really focus on what they want, everything else just kind of works. You've got to really screw things up to get it wrong then. Because if you are offering great value, people will buy from you. That's what I found.
That's one thing me and Joe were talking about, because Joey's just trying to start, or he is starting up his PT business. And it's kind of, Joey gets worried about taking money from people.
Yeah, I find that this is such a weird thing. Like taking money from people is just weird.
Yeah. But if he's providing the value, you need the money to fuel the business, don't you?
I totally get that, because that's something that really improved with us when I moved away from sales. Because all the sales, if I speak to somebody with a gym, I always get friendly with them. And because it was my company, I always felt kind of bad charging what I really should have charged. And I probably used to discount more than I should have done. So when I moved away from that and left it to the sales guys, they ensure that all our customers get incredible value, but charging what we should charge.
Yeah.
They've got less of that attachment to the business. They can kind of stand back and say, look, you're getting incredible value here. This is what you need to be paying to warrant what you're getting. Whereas I'd be more, oh, go on, man.
Yeah, it's because it's your brand, isn't it? So you want everybody to perceive you as nice, but sometimes it's about the value exchange, I guess, isn't it? It's,
exactly.
But so that sort of shifts from a question of sort of not selfishness, but from selfish to serving your clients. So the focus I find is not on purpose, but at the moment where I am, I'm sort of trying to survive. I'm trying to get to the next stage. I'm trying to do this, but I suppose there's a line which you cross where you can leave that behind, and it's all about the client. It's all about providing the best service to them.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of that is getting the right people in your team, which took a long time. I've learned loads in that process as well, getting really good people. But now, luckily, we've got a great team, and we found since having a really good team, it's then very much easier to get more good people, when you've got a team full of people that are okay, a couple of good ones, it's very hard to bring in and keep more really good people. So that gets easier as your team gets better.
So do you know when you hire your new people, your new team, do you go through like a process of like certain values that they have to carry with them?
Values, exactly. It was a mistake I made early on, mainly because when I got to a point where I needed to employ somebody, I was desperate. We were so far behind, need another welder urgently, and you end up taking on the first person that can do the job. Whereas now it's much more about their core values and having the right kind of person, because having somebody, we really care about customers, and I'm very particular about any person that deals with our customers. They've got to be really good and really genuinely care. And trying to teach people to be like that is very, very hard. If it's not in them, if really they could quite happily not get the quote back to somebody when they promise, and because it's the weekend and they can't be bothered, they'll leave it till Monday. If they're naturally like that, it's very hard to train it. But if you instead take people on that are naturally care, it's just so much easier. You haven't got to train them to do that. All you have to do is train them how to do your processes, and they naturally look after the customers. So getting people with the right core values made a huge difference, and not taking people on just because you're desperate, not waiting that long, looking ahead, planning, seeing the people you need and take them on in plenty of time. And naturally, as you're bigger, I mean, we've got nearly 80 employees now, so there's more give, there's more flex. If somebody leaves, it's nobody could leave and leave us in trouble now. There's always crossovers.
Somebody can fit in and slot in. So I guess because as we walked around, I bumped into some people, but I guess you've had some members. I mean, we went to the upholstery side, some team members which are sort of integral to the growth of Watson. As I forgot his name.
Rob in upholstery.
So Rob in upholstery's been here for 14 or 15 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, 15 years, I think.
So you've got those members which have grown with you, I guess.
Yeah, it's something we track now, is how long staff are with us. It's a KPI that we track because we want people to be here a long time. So anyone we take on, they're either going to leave very quickly within the first, within their probation, their 3 months, either because they don't suit us or for them, we don't suit them. So that's good. We get them out very quickly. But so we don't track up to 6 months. But once somebody's been here 6 months or over, we want them here a long time. If they leave after a year, something's really gone wrong. And we do get it occasionally, but it's something we're really working on.
Yeah.
Really working on.
I've heard something about it. I can't remember who I was speaking to, but it's about, or what I've heard is the vision. So if the employee doesn't fit within your vision, then they're not going to want to be there. So they've got to be able to sort of grow with you.
Exactly.
And upward mobility
it's got to work both ways. Somebody's perception when they come to work with us, they might find it's different when they're actually here, and then it's good that they leave and find what's right for them. So it takes time finding the right people. But I think we're getting much better now at interviewing and finding the right people, drawing out their core values. And
I suppose if they leave anyway, that they've left probably being better than what they were when they came, I guess.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Had a lot of people that leave and then come back, or asked to come back. And certain ones we do have back. We've got quite a few that have left for a year or a couple of years and then come back. Others we don't necessarily want back, so it hasn't worked.
I saw on one of your interviews that you were doing some TM, transcendental meditation, and on the interview you'd said that you'd stopped it for about 6 months. Have you managed to get back onto that?
At the minute, I'm doing some early in the morning. Yeah, I do. The thing with it, the time you really need to be doing it is when you just haven't got time to do it. So you got to. At the minute, it's been really busy. Been traveling loads, there's been a lot going on here, a lot going on with other businesses. So it's been busy. So yeah, I've been trying to make some time in the mornings to do it. TM, you're supposed to do twice a day, 20 minutes, 2 times a day. Just been doing one in the morning. But it helps, it definitely helps. Helps to, when you've got loads of things need doing, you can quite logically prioritize them, I find. It just helps me calm my head a bit and get things in order.
Yeah, could I ask about, because I'm always intrigued about people's routines and obviously you're quite influential now. What's your routines in the morning and before night? Do you visualize? What do you do?
Yeah, so I don't, I haven't got like a specific routine, but I always get up 5 o'clock in the morning, always get up, drink water, take the dog out first thing, and I'll walk for an hour. And I'll either sometimes listen to a podcast or listen to something, or I have nothing and just clear my head, just think. It's at the minute it's bright in the morning. Sun's up at quarter to 5, so the sun's up then. Normally it's dark. It's not most times of the year for 9 months of the year. It's dark, and I just really enjoy that quiet time to then clear my head a bit, think about things I want to achieve in that day, and just relax. Really, just have a bit of time to myself. Sort of check in with yourself, how you feel. Then I get back. Kids will be waking up, so I see the kids, see the family, my wife, and I'll generally head into work about 8 o'clock. I live in Bath. Work is 20 minutes away. So I'll come into work and then do the things I really have to get done. They'll be the first things I have to get done. Because when I come in, quite often, if I plan a whole day, it would never pan out because there's always things cropping up, a machine's gone down or there's some problem somewhere. And because I am very hands-on with the business still, and I like to be, it'd probably be better in a way if I stood back a bit more, but I do like being hands-on. So if there's an issue, I'd generally be involved in it. So that messes up my day a lot of times. So I'll make sure the important things are done as soon as I come in. So I'll be in my office here, just getting the things I need to get done. And then the rest of the day can go any way. I always go over to the gym about 10 o'clock, train in the gym for half an hour. And then the rest of the day is kind of made up with what's going on at the time, what I need to be doing. I always plan some design work in the afternoon. I'll do like an hour of either new machines or existing machines that I want to improve. So I'll schedule that in. And then I'll head off probably 3 o'clock maybe, head home, take the dog for another walk, and see the family and eat. I don't tend to eat. So sometimes I'll eat here. Generally, I won't eat in the day. I eat when I get home. So
I've seen some lovely steaks on your Instagram story.
I mean, I love food. Yeah, I love food, but I like to eat. I like to starve myself a bit, so I fast generally in the day, and then have some really good food.
Does that give you clarity? Is it one of those
really
sort of things?
I don't think I found. I know people say that. Don't. It's what I always do. So maybe that is the clarity. Maybe if I ate in the morning, I'd be really foggy. Yeah. But it just suits the way I work. It gives me more time. When I do cook here, it takes time out your day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like to eat in the evening and then just chill out and relax. I go to bed early. Always in bed by 9:30.
Yeah.
Ready to be up at 5 because I find I need 7 or 8 hours sleep, definitely. And I'll sleep straight away as soon as I go to bed. I'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
I mentioned Andy Frisella, the guy from America, I said about First Form. He said a similar thing to what you said. He gets all of his tasks done right at the start of the day. And then he says if there's other things that he wants to do within the business, he will. But if there's a day where he wants to take off and go somewhere else because of his team, he can do that.
Yeah, sure.
He can go and drive his cars or whatever.
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
similar to what you
said?
Got?
Exactly. I can adapt quickly. I've got a diary, so important things are plotted in, but it's quite open. I change quickly. What I'm doing. If it was a nice day and I haven't played golf much recently, but if it was a nice day in the afternoon, I want to go and play golf, then I can. So over the years, I've delegated the things I don't really enjoy doing or not particularly good at doing. And just stuck to the few things that I really do enjoy, which is the design work and just where the company's going, just focusing on where we're going and how we're going to get there, and my own goals, really focusing on my goals. So goal setting is a big thing. I'd like to, like you said, before I go to sleep, I tend to just go over those in my head. Just
so is it only mentally, or do you write it down?
I do write certain things down, and we have very specific goals with work with my management team. We have very specific goals that we're checking in on all the time, making sure we're heading the right way. But my own sort of goals, generally in my head.
Yeah.
I like doing that in my head, and it works for me. And I think I've become quite good now at visualizing and knowing where I want to be and seeing that I am moving towards it.
It seems like a very common thing that people who are successful do. They visualize, even sports people, and it doesn't get spoken about enough, I don't think, because It seems a bit like woo woo and hippy dippy kind of thing, but
There's so much to that. If you can properly visualize something, I think the trouble with goals that a lot of people do, they focus too much on the actual thing. If there's a car or something they want, a certain amount of money, they're focused on that rather than what is the person I need to become to get that. If you really focus on how you need to change to get that, then it's very easy. And then you've only got to look at other people that have got whatever it is, look at their habits and copy their habits, because it's as simple as that. If you copy the habits of somebody who's in a certain position, you get that like quite quickly.
that's a really good point. I never actually heard that said like that. That's actually
Yeah.
because like you say, you're focused on maybe, I don't know, what your business is going to be like, or the house or the car, like you say. But I suppose if you're focusing on yourself, that if you become that person who's skilled, a nice person, it will just bring the results that you're wanting, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah, goal setting's very, very important.
Yeah. Can we go back to making of the actual equipment?
Yeah.
Like in terms of prototypes, how many prototypes do you have to go through before you're actually like, oh, I can sell this now?
Well, in the early days, loads. It was very, I had no software or anything for prototyping. So it was literally sketching by hand, a machine, making it, and then cutting it apart and changing it. But over the years, as software's got better and as we've learned how to use really good software, good 3D software, you can do so much of that now within the software. So a combination of really good software and my knowledge of biomechanics and everything, dealing with top people in the industry, I've learned a lot about how biomechanically machines should work. That's brought the time down a lot on prototyping. So we can almost, for a machine that's not too complex, you can pretty much get it from drawing stage to the first prototyping being pretty much ready to go. A few tweaks. It's quite often things you don't think about. You design a machine, and when someone's in the machine using it, it's perfect as you thought it was going to be. But then when trying to get in it or get out, it's awkward. So then you have to change things to make it easier to access and that type of thing.
So do you have your own team that does all the prototypes, or do you still have like a big say in it and how you?
So design is purely me. It's still me. So we have other people that take over. When I've designed something, they take over and do like the nesting. So when we got a machine drawn, they'll take that machine, pull it all apart, look at the individual components, and then make nests for like the flat laser that I showed you and the box section laser. They create the nest that will run those machines to produce all those parts that make the machine.
Yeah.
So I do a design bit, but then kind of pass it over for it to be made.
Yeah, because when I look at your equipment's actually so like luxurious compared to other gym equipments. How do you set yourself apart from other equipments? Like,
I think we've got our unique look, like we said with the box section. I do like
because it's really bright, isn't it? Like is it pink colored usually?
Yeah, we do some great colors. A lot of companies do great colors, but we try and keep that industrial looking frame with really bang up to date, really cool looking upholstery, and that does give it quite a unique look. We use leathers, as I showed you, in upholstery. We use materials that other people don't use, and we do things in a slightly different way. But it just gives our kit quite a unique look, I think.
Because I tried one of your machines over there, and it's so good. Like you try other gym machines, and they're just like cranky and just not oiled up, but that is just like perfect.
We over-engineer things because I was from the aircraft industry. Everything's got to be perfect. Any moving part's got to have a bearing, not bushes that a lot of companies use. As they wear, they get a bit wobbly and squeaky. So every moving part's got bearings in, which it gives it a nicer, smoother feel. Definitely.
Do your equipment ever rust, or how do you stay away from that?
It's designed for indoor use unless we've specifically made, which we've done, things for outdoor, and then it's treated differently to suit outdoor. We've had people have something for indoor that they decided to take outdoor, and over time it will rust. It was outside, so we need to know beforehand where it's going.
But
I was just going to say, it's a huge attention to detail, and it flows through the whole company. So as you walk in, the stairs that lead up, you manufactured your own stairs. You've got your signs all over the place, and then in here where we're sat now, you've got, I'd say, almost a bit of a showroom maybe, where you can bring your clients.
This changes all the time. the idea up here, because we got the gym we can take people to, there's always a lot of equipment for people to see down on the shop floor that's waiting to go out. But we try and keep up here some unique pieces that they probably wouldn't have seen before. At the minute, we haven't really got that. These are pretty standard pieces up here now. But the idea of this is to have some of our latest prototypes and things. We're looking to change this in the next couple of months. We get some new machines up here.
And as we flow down to the workshop, another thing I picked up on was obviously everything was in its specific section, like a process, but also there's no dust or no metal filings or there's nothing.
On cleanliness, I think people work better in a clean environment. Again, it goes back from aircraft engineering. You weren't allowed to leave tools anywhere. You had shadow boards and the plane wouldn't fly unless every tool was back in case one had been left somewhere on the aircraft. So yeah, I'm very fussy about cleanliness, and that's always been a bit of a battle getting that through to people.
Yeah, because the thing as well, I've struggled with that sometimes, because in the building trade, you can be stumbling over loads of crap everywhere, and you're like, you've lost an hour just from you know. Whereas if you, I don't know, at the end of the day, at say 4:30, whatever time you guys finish, you might tidy up your section, or when you've done a machine and welded or whatever, tidy your space. Is that how you sort of?
Yeah, it's that. It's the fact customers are coming in, and I think if I went to Bentley or Rolls Royce or somewhere and it was mess everywhere, it would destroy the brand for me. So we're very particular about our brand. We want our brand to represent our brand properly. So when customers come in, everything's got to fit and look right. There's that. There's the fact that I've spent a lot of money on equipment, and I like it to be shiny and new looking. It's like a car. When at some point you're going to get a crash on a machine, and there's going to be some dents internally, which is annoying, but it's going to happen. But I like to minimise that and keep the outside nice and shiny. So yeah, I'm fussy about for a lot of reasons about everything looking right and being tidy and clean.
Yeah, my favourite section was the powder coating section with that conveyor belt, which has all of the stuff go through. It heats it, it cleans it. It's incredible.
Yeah, so it's a continuous conveyor. Gets loaded from welding. It gets loaded that end, goes around into a wash station, and then it gets dried, and then goes into the actual powder coating booth, and then it goes into another oven where it cures the powder, and then by the time it comes to the end of the line, it's cool enough to take off straight into assembled, shipped out to the customer. And it's quite the whole process is quite quick, and it has to flow all the time. As I said before, if there's delays, everything builds up. It's a big problem. So we need to keep that flowing. When we tell customers their order's going to be ready, they need to be ready as well to accept it, so we can move it on out to allow more to come through.
So in terms of when someone buys a product, how long does it usually take?
So our lead time now, with the efficiency of the new factory coming through now, is down to kind of 2 months, really. We're down to 2 months lead time, which is pretty good. It's been up to 6-7 months a couple of years ago, but it's down to about 2 months now. Obviously we ship all over the world, so somebody in Australia, they got although Australia's changed now, but in America they got the 2 month build time and then the shipping time, so another 5 weeks or so on top of that.
And those equipment that you send out, are they already ready to use, or do they have
we tend to ship equipment fully built, ready to get on and use. So if they do need to take bits apart to get it into the building, and we check this beforehand, we found it's generally easier for people to take something off, seeing how it should be, and then put it back on, rather than sending them a load of bits that they need to assemble. UK, we install within the UK. Outside the UK, we can install. It's a choice of a customer. They can pay for us to go out and do the install, or even just somebody to go and oversee the install while another team fits it.
Me and Joey,
but generally, we ship fully built, fully assembled.
Yeah. Me and Joey, I think I spoke to you about it as well, Simon, as with all your machines, I've definitely noticed that you can get a really good feel from your machines. And we spoke down there a little bit about it, but you work with people to develop your machines now, do you?
Yeah, we always have over the years. The very early days, Stuart McRobert, who did the Hard Gainer magazines, the Brawn books and Beyond Brawn. I worked with him really, really early on, like within a year. I stumbled across him, got speaking to him, and he helped me a lot given me ideas of how to reach customers and the type of things people would want to buy. He got me into the shrug bar. Used to sell loads of those because I was the only person making them. Then later, other people, Charles Poliquin obviously had a massive influence on the business. He helped me a lot with the business and with designs and biomechanics and how things should work and feel. People like Ben Pekalski, same thing, really helped with how machines should work. So with that knowledge, the knowledge I had, and the new software, it just gives you this package of kind of knowing how things should be, and you constantly learn as you go. I've been 24 years now doing this, and you're still learning all the time. And it's important, I think, not to think, right, I've got this sus now, I know what I'm doing. You've got to be learning all the time.
That leads on to a good question. Is there any room for ego in business?
It's no, hard to avoid sometimes, but no, if you can keep your ego out, I think is.
So I suppose you need a bit of ego or arrogance, or not arrogance, but to even believe that you can do it at the start.
You need to have confidence in yourself, obviously, but keeping it to yourself, I think, and just having that quiet confidence, I think, for me is the way to go with things. I think,
that makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
But you got to know in your head, you got to have the confidence to take on the orders and know that you can supply what you're promising.
I've met with different people before, and other people have said like that they might be a bit egotistical, but sometimes it's the mindset that person's in. Like they view people from, how can I put it? I don't know if they understand how certain people think, but they perceive that as being egotistical, and actually all they're doing is they're focused on their one sort of line.
Yeah, I suppose you will come across, the more focused you get as well, the more niche you go. This is a niche market. You probably will come across that way.
It's a hard one to balance.
There's a good book, Ego is the Enemy. Is it Ryan Holiday? Yeah. Good book. Yeah, we did dump actually. A good friend of his, Joe Polish, a US very high-end marketing guy. He had some dumbbells made with various book names, and Ego is the Enemy.
I think I saw that video.
Is one of them. Yeah.
So one of those guys that they spoke about on there, he helped with the dumbbells, did he?
So that was Charles.
That's Charles. Yeah.
Charles was a good friend of Joe Polish as well. Yeah, which is how I got in with Joe.
Yeah, and I was saying those dumbbells, especially with the rotating handles and the fat grip.
I've tried the fat grip. I don't know about the
So some people like them, some people don't. Charles was very much into thick grip training, especially with the MMA and things, because when you grab somebody, it's not 25 mil, it's more 50 mil size. The rotating handles obviously takes the inertia out, takes the turning force out of the weight. So if you're doing something like a curl with a heavy weight, that weight is trying to keep rotating at the top of the movement, and it puts load on your joints. So when you disconnect the handle with rotation, with bearings, that totally takes that inertia out, so it's better for your joints. So a thick grip are really good for any sort of pushing movement. If you're rowing, it's going to be a weak point. Obviously, your grip will be giving out probably before your lats. So good for any pushing movement. Some people really love them. Some people more used to standard weights don't like them so much. So we sell 50/50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you invented any kit? Have you had anything you've had to patent or like,
Well, I've never invented huge amounts of kit. Yeah, a lot of kit. I've never gone down the patent route for a few reasons. Massively expensive, massively long-winded. It's a fast-moving industry. By the time a patent would be granted, we'd have moved on to something else. I'd much rather us as a company to stay ahead of what's going on, constantly evolve and develop. So by the time somebody's copied what we're doing, we've moved on anyway.
Yeah.
And we get loads of people copy what we're doing. We see things and we copy things but I'll only copy something if we can add value to it and improve it. Copying for the sake of copying and just being another company making it doesn't do it for me. But if we can improve it, then we do that. That's how the industry works. That's how competition works.
It's an amazing mindset.
But if somebody copies what we've made and they sell it and our sales drop, then we've done something wrong. We need to improve. And, if they can make it cheaper than us, then we need to improve if they can make it better than us. I don't mind people copying what we do. It keeps us on our toes.
Yeah.
Keeps us moving.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
really important. The other thing with patents, at the end of the day, if some Chinese company copies what we're doing, the patent doesn't protect. The patent means you're allowed to sue that person, but whether you want to sue and plow the money it would cost to sue a company that could potentially be much bigger than you.
It's almost like a deterrent, isn't it?
It's a deterrent, but it doesn't protect you. So yeah, I've never gone down the patent route with anything.
Weird or a good mentality that I've never really considered.
Not saying nobody should. Certain industries, yes, you would need, if you came up with an idea and a big company could steal it from you and run with it, you need a patent. But where we are, it wouldn't work for us.
And there's not many people in your situation that can design, build everything in the house to get it done within, you flood the market.
We're quite unique where we are with our manufacturing capability, and yet being small enough to adapt and change quickly. Most companies with capabilities like we've got are very big and they can't change. They've got their things that they make and they can't adapt or change them because they've got huge production lines. To change the height of something would be a huge issue. So we're in a good position where we can change quickly, but we've got the latest technology for manufacturing, so we can make things incredibly economically and efficiently. So I want to try it as we grow. It's one thing I'm careful to maintain.
Yeah. When people buy your equipment, do they have what's the staple equipment that always gets bought time and time?
There's always the 80-20 rules. So we've got the bread and butter machines you always see going out. So leg machines, animal leg press, the pendulum squats, benches, obviously adjustable benches. Yeah, there's certain machines that always sell. And ones that don't sell, we do kind of get rid of them maybe or change them to either improve them where we can, or if it's a product that generally doesn't sell, we'd probably let it go, because the more niche I find we can go, the better. The more we can focus. If we could sell enough of a range of, say, just 20 machines, that would be great. But we do need a bigger range to bring in the funds we need to keep growing.
So you've got back end systems in place which track all of that. Spreadsheets or some sort.
We track it. Yeah, we got a lot of KPIs and things we track now. We have a management pack every month showing the performance of a company. A lot of KPIs we track, and then we have weekly meetings here with my managers to see where we are and make sure we're on track.
Okay. Yeah. How many admin staff have you got?
So we're quite light on admin. So sales team is 6 or 7 in sales. We got 2 accountants. So admin side only 6 people, and then 6 or 7 sales. So quite light on that side, but very good, very efficient.
Obviously, you can manage the load well with that, can't you?
Yeah, in-house HR now, because quite a lot of staff, nearly 80 staff. So we brought HR in-house.
Could we go and talk about during the COVID days? How was that for you?
Worrying initially, but it ended up very good for us. Luckily, we'd started the build on the factory here, so that was built through COVID. Pricing on all the build was agreed, so luckily we built it at the right price. If we'd started to build a bit later, it would have cost massively more. So we built that at the agreed price. Initially, we thought we were going to have to shut down, but then within a day realised we could actually stay open, and we were flooded with home gym, or really, really flooded with home gym orders. So we created a couple of machines which now are big sellers for us, our power gym. I designed that in the first week of our first lockdown in I think it was March, wasn't it, the first lockdown. So we adapted to suit the market that we had at the time, which was still basically our machines. It's just how we did things internally. Suddenly, the average order value, which was much, much smaller, we were shipping loads of very low value items, whereas normally ticket value is generally quite high. So we had to change a lot internally with the way the website worked, the way we processed orders, just dealing with this big volume of low value orders. So that was hard. But looking back, the whole COVID period, we were growing anyway, but we grew at a more rapid rate through COVID, luckily, and it is just luck that we happen to be in the right industry.
Yeah.
So many, industries and companies had a terrible time. So yeah.
So obviously those first for me, the first 3 weeks of when that virus came out, it was almost like crap. This could be like it was a real serious thing, or how did you within the first week switch from fear to right, practical, let's go in this direction, let's logical? What processes did you go through?
Well, really, once we learned that we could stay open, and once we realized that, because the big worry initially was obviously customers from all over the world pay us a deposit, and then they wait until the equipment's made. They then pay the balance, and we ship the goods out. So we thought, seeing that lockdowns were happening all over the world, we thought we're going to get a lot of cancelled orders here, and we're going to have to pay back all the deposits and not have those orders. So it's going to be a really difficult time financially. It's going to be very difficult. Then we kind of started to understand, well, actually our customers, when the cancelled orders just didn't come in, we realized that's because our typical customer does well, their gym does well. So they looked at it and thought, okay, we're going to have to shut down, but let's use this time to invest in new equipment rather than panic and sell everything to get some money. They used the time to invest in new equipment. And when they did finally reopen, they were at a better position than when they closed. And then they started realizing, which we saw all the time, they'd sell their secondhand equipment for more than they could buy brand new from us. So they'd sell the equipment for whatever, buy brand new, replace it all with us, because we didn't put our prices up. They bought new equipment from us and had money left over. So I mean, a lot of gyms did really well.
I didn't realize that was happening. I knew gym equipment went up.
Happened a lot. I mean, some of the prices people were charging was crazy. I mean, there was no availability. Some other new things we came out with just so people could work with. We make our high-end dumbbells, but we thought, okay, people need a quick and easy, cheap dumbbell package, and we'd always sold dumbbell handles. So we started laser cutting just very basic weight plates, like small diameter, very skinny, thin weight plates that they could load onto dumbbells. So we sold loads and loads of those weight plates, just very basic, cheap, not even powder coated, just raw steel. And we sold so many of those every day. We're sending out loads and loads of those, which was totally new to us. We never sold anything like that before.
That sort of speaks to your values as a business, really, because when you said that people were selling their secondhand gear for more than what they could buy it from you, the point that you didn't just raise your price.
We could have put our price up a lot and would have
done fine.
I don't think we would have lost much work.
But obviously those relationships are more important to you than...
Yeah, exactly. Probably now the effect of that, now we'd be paying for it, I think.
Yeah.
I think now, yeah. So it was a massively difficult time for loads of people, but we were fortunate and we came out well. Yeah.
It might be a bit out of context, but do people ever buy your equipment and then resell it for a higher price? And how do you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, our price holds its value incredibly well. Don't often see equipment for more. Quite often see equipment for a very similar price to brand new. And because people can buy it immediately, that inflates the price rather than having the lead time. But dumbbells, I've seen our dumbbells regularly sold for more than we can do a new really? Set for.
By how much usually?
I've seen them, 25% over brand new price. Yeah, obviously no lead time and stainless steel. So there's a lot of value in the actual, like I said before, in the actual materials to make them. People could buy a set of our dumbbells, use them for 10 years, scrap them, to get a scrap merchant to pick them up, and they get more money than they paid for them 10 years before.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
There's not many products you can do that with.
Yeah.
Can you speak to how sort of your life outside of the gym has changed, or not? Sorry, the gym business has changed. Obviously, from when you started it to now. Can you sort of how it's evolved and?
So, I've taken the money I take out of the business. I don't think it's changed for the last 6 or so years. So 12 years ago, I made a big investment in a nice house. We moved out of where we were and we moved to a house that we're still in now. So we got a nice place to live. I don't I don't draw loads of money out and spend loads of money on flash cars. I have done it in the past. I don't anymore. I like to buy assets rather than liabilities. The one thing I do quite happily put a lot of money into is travel and experiences. So I love to travel nicely. Love to travel to great places, stay in the best hotels. That's one thing I do like doing, which you could say is a liability, but it's an experience. So that's where I put.
Yeah.
That's where our life has changed a lot, I think, as a
Where's your favourite
family.
place?
But otherwise, there's so many places. I mean, I love Australia. I've been there twice already this year. There's a few places, standard places, me and my wife always go to, Cannes, New York, Dubai. We always do trips on our own. We kind of alternate a trip with the kids and then a trip on our own. And the kids have got places they love going to. We're taking them to New York for the first time this year. So really the big thing that's changed for me is travel. I think that's the thing that stands out. Otherwise, I don't live like a...
I saw the sales team
life.
trip as well on like a private jet, and that was like really cool.
Yeah, we did ski. Actually, that ski trip we did, when we got back, if we left the day after, we'd have been flown straight back. That was just before lockdown. We just managed to get that one in before lockdown. Yeah,
that's a cool post.
Always one thing of being able to get your time back is really important. So like flying a private jet is always going to be, it's going to give you a lot more time and just so much less hassle.
Yeah,
so much less.
It's like you don't have to wait, check in, all that.
No,
I've never experienced it, but
kids can take their bikes with them. We take my dog. It's
really,
just it's so easy. But no, I don't do it all the time. I don't go everywhere. In fact, last week we went to France. And I did my first EasyJet flight for 6 years. It was okay. It was fun. It was fun.
Because you're such a busy guy, how do you balance business and family together and enjoying yourself?
I don't. People say about work life, work balance. It's all one thing. Sometimes I'll be home and I'll be working. Sometimes I'll be here and I'll be FaceTiming the face. It's all the same thing. My family know that this is part of our life. My wife's not involved in Watson gym equipment. She's a PT though. She trains people from home. The kids at the minute are showing no interest in coming to work here, but we all know this is part of our life. So I don't really try and separate out. When I get home, I don't tend to work late. I do my work early in the morning. Sometimes I do need to do some drawing work or something at home, but generally I'm not, and I'm home early, and So I'm at home quite a lot of the time, but I'm always thinking about work. I think sometimes my wife knows that maybe that's an issue. She can tell I'm a bit zoned out sometimes thinking about work. But
I suppose if you communicate that to your family, they understand what it is you're trying to achieve here. So it's kind of a bit more of a. Whereas if you were just working for a company and you were, it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I think we're in a reasonable place in terms of balancing work and home life, I think. Yeah.
When you were starting your business, from even to now, what's the hardest thing you've had to come across?
Staff, really, and the mistakes I've made employing the wrong people. I've made some big mistakes on management level, employing wrong managers long time ago, but people that really damaged the company. I remember there was a woman I took on that I thought was going to be amazing, came across incredible. She even did a few bits before I took her on within the company, talking to employees, motivational stuff, which went really well. Then when I took her on, completely different person, and that really damaging. Killed morale, very big mistake. And I left it too long to get her out. Now I should have been a lot quicker. So I've had things like that a couple of times. That's big mistakes. Loads of mistakes all the time you learn from, but only some that when you look back you think, that was very damaging. I should have picked up on that earlier.
How did you correct that? The woman that you rang in, what did you do to make the morale?
Got her out, but much too late. Really, a lot of damage had been done. Good people had left.
Really? Yeah.
I've had that a couple of times. Good people leaving, which is really bad.
Yeah.
Management team we got now are great and do a lot of things that I used to do much better than me. I always used to think if I could have 10 of me, it would be incredible. But if I realise now that wouldn't be good
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
I've got my skills.
You'd all just be drawing the machines. Like,
Yeah, and I haven't got a lot of patience with teaching. I haven't got a lot of patience, so I'm not good at a lot of aspects of the business. So letting other people that really are good at that's been a big step forward. And I learned that too late. For probably 15 years in, I was still, I've really got to find this person like me that can, when I walk through the workshop, everyone makes sure they're working and other people don't. I need somebody that really scares people into working. Totally wrong.
Yeah.
Totally wrong. So.
I suppose you only learn that through the evolution of the business. Don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Although I remember reading and watching videos on that, but still thinking, no, I'm definitely right there. But yeah, I wasn't.
So did you ever have someone who you looked up to in terms of making equipment? And
Yeah, loads. Nautilus guy. My memory now is my memory's so bad. Arthur Jones. Arthur Jones was incredible. Not a designer. Seeing what the future was. I mean, he was so far ahead of everybody back then. The stuff he was doing, with the first cam machines and things, really clever. And then the fact he combined it with being an incredible business person. Yeah, I mean, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The owner of Rogue's done incredibly well at quickly building a company. He's done incredibly well. Different kind of market to where we are. Done massively well. Ben from Gymshark, I remember our first Arnold Classic in Melbourne. He was there with their first. Yeah, we were 15 years in. It was their first sort of couple of years, and seeing him there, how well they were doing, but seeing now how incredibly well he's done now, it's amazing. Amazing. There's a lot of people that do. There's companies similar to us that we come across. Atlantis make amazing equipment. I was talking about Prime earlier. They've got some really, really good designed equipment with the variable cam and things. So there's really good companies, but we try and stick to our little niche. I think they tend to with theirs. But there's a lot of people I admire in the
Good
industry.
lesson for that as well is sort of when you first get started, you're sort of in the scarcity mindset. You don't think there's enough for everybody to go around, but the world's huge.
That's a big, that's a big thing. Loads of people do think that, there's a certain amount of money, and if it goes to him, then it can't come. But it's everywhere. It's there's definitely you got to think in a abundance way, definitely.
There's a huge. I think with starting a business and then growing the business. Obviously, I'm in the process of starting. I've not grown one, but I feel like you develop as a person. You're almost like a totally different person from when you start.
Yeah, definitely. The skills you need early on, and I think in a way, if I went back to the start now, a lot of things would be much easier and quicker. But in some ways, you need to be really naive as well at the start to
even think this is impossible. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if I had a big plan to be here and beyond right at the start, I'd probably doubt it a bit, and that would affect things. But the fact I just didn't know what was going to happen, I was happy to plod away, just keep consistently. I mean, it was really, really hard work at the start, physically hard work.
Yeah.
Day after day after day, 7 days a week, 16-hour days, really, really hard work. And just day after day and year after year.
Yeah.
And most people would have given up after a couple of years, because 3 years in, there was no inkling that I was going to make good money and have a great business. There's no thought of that at all. But the fact that I didn't care and I just enjoyed it, that kept me going then.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I kind of admire about you. One of them is sort of, because my background's building, and your hands are always cut up, you've got builder type hands, but also you've got Audemars watch on your wrist, that is really fucking cool. Because most people now, they're making money on the internet and stuff, which is, it's amazing, but I like to see that, there's still ways that you can do it by creating something from nothing.
I think, well, I'm a product person, so I like things. I'd always be a bit worried if all my earnings were done by some course or something I was selling, because at any point you see the way Facebook and things can just cut. I got cut off Facebook. I had a Facebook account for years. It got hacked. It was shut down. Had no say in it. Gone. Never see it again.
Really?
So if my business was held on there, I'd be worried. So I like things. I like the fact that to make something, you can see it, you sell it. Like you buy a house, you can see it, you can paint it and do it up and sell it. It's very, it's something you can't kind of lose. So I do like that.
Yeah.
But there is plenty of people making good money in other ways, but I'd always be a bit worried myself that it could just disappear at any point.
Yeah.
Having your life on YouTube, it's great when it's there, but you don't own those videos.
Yeah, that's the thing. The scary thing with these influencers, isn't it? It's some that create a business off of it, which is amazing. But if you're just influencing, it can be taken away. A lot of people getting banned and all these sort of
yeah. Well, there's a lot of people making good money by telling people how to run a business, and they've made the money by telling people how to run a business. They've never run a business.
Yeah,
they all they've done is learn what other people have told them, and then they go out and I think that's a bit wrong.
Yeah.
But it's where it is now.
So what's the future for your company?
We're keep growing. We've got a long way to go. We're in all the markets we want to be in pretty much. We haven't got into China, haven't got into Russia, and we definitely want to get into China. But we want to get much more. We ship to US quite a lot. We should be shipping loads more. So in the US, we want to do similar to what we've done in Australia, which is set up a base over there where we ship kits to and then produce the kits over there to reduce the shipping and lead times. So we definitely want to do that so we can build up the US market, which is a really good market for us. Then in the Middle East as well, we've got a really good market in Dubai and Saudi and Kuwait. But it's nowhere near what it could be. So we want to build those markets as well. So at the minute, we can go way beyond where we are now, but we need to do it at the rate where we can fund it ourselves and steadily grow. So that's the plan, just to keep growing, keep enjoying what we're doing, keep looking after customers.
So I've been told we've got about 5 minutes. So I want to get onto more of like the quicker fire questions that I've got sort of lined up. What is the most overrated piece of equipment? Not necessarily that you build, but just equipment that you've seen, like something that you think that's not really needed. You got?
On the shopping channels, obviously you see loads of that. I never quite got the vibration stuff, all the power plates and everything.
Yeah.
Never quite got that. And this, I think it's kind of gone now.
I think it probably has, yeah.
Yeah, that I don't get that accelerated training. To me in my head, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I never really got that, and that was a big market, a really big market.
Bit of a fad, but people make.
I think so. Yeah, you
see
fads come and go, and I'm really happy the fact that we're in the side of the market that's never going to go away. Now we see so many gyms where they're taking out spin bikes and things to put more strength kit in.
Yeah.
With the gym I went to in France last week, the biggest areas, the free weight area is packed. The other places, there's a few people in, not many. So it does seem to be our side of the market. So the strength training is what I think works, especially when people get older. As I said before, I'm 53 now, and I think strength training for me is really important. It kind of maintains at least the muscle you've got and keeps you active as you get older, keeps you kind of healthy more than other sides of training. Running and things, not so much. I think I love walking, a lot of strength training. I think that helps you as you get older to live a good life when you're old.
How about underrated? Most underrated bit of kit?
There's things we do we don't sell many of, but they're really great machines. There's our rear pivot leg press. Great machine.
Oh, that's
really,
almost what, for like glutes and hammies, or?
It's quite glute hamstring dominant. It's quad as well. But that's a great machine. Yeah, we don't sell many of those. There's a few others as well that we should sell more of. Yeah, something called a perfect row, which isn't easy to set up, but once you set it up right for yourself, great machine, really good machine. Yeah.
What about some advice for people, or maybe even yourself, when you were starting, sort of if you're looking at where you are now, talking to yourself when you were young or when you were starting, what would you say? What would you? Well,
definitely find good people early on and find a way of paying what you need to pay for good people. Definitely would be one. the thing I'd say to most people that luckily I did just happen to do myself was find something you really, really love. You have to genuinely love it, because you just won't stick it for long enough otherwise. You literally won't. And people try and think, what is it I love doing? All you got to do is look at the things you do without being told. You know, if you go fishing every week or something without people telling you, and you've done it for years, that's the thing you need to be finding a way to monetize and do. Don't try and think of something you could do you would love.
Yeah.
What you're doing now, because you will be doing it. If you play video games all the time and you love it, and people try and get you off it, but you're trying to play it, that's what you need to be doing. You know, don't try and move off to something else. I was always tinkering and making stuff. I loved doing that, so I didn't need to be, didn't need money coming in to do it. I just wanted to do it anyway. And then the fact that there was potential to maybe make some money doing it, that just boosted me even more to do it. So yeah, definitely. People always say, fine, do what you love, but there's not enough emphasis on that.
Yes.
It's so important, because to start in, unless you're very lucky, you see businesses that start and just take off straight away, but then they're not many.
They're the outliers,
Most
aren't they?
businesses, people doing well, have struggled and struggled and struggled, and then slowly creeps up. And then when they're suddenly doing reasonably well, then everyone notices, oh, they just popped up from nowhere, where really there's all this groundwork going on. And if it's not something you love, you give up on that groundwork, because anyone with any sense would. I had mates saying, you can't be doing this all the time, because I sacrificed so much, so many. The girl I was seeing at the time, that was over within a month of starting the business, and just at a time when I was 29, a good 29 to 35, good sort of going out age, I had to sacrifice loads. Yeah, and most people, a lot of people say, I'm totally going to start a business, totally dedicated. I'll work every hour I have to. The only thing I've got to do is I play football on a Thursday night. You forget that. You can't have that one thing. Everything has to go into it.
Yeah.
Sacrifice your eating, everything. If you're trying to prep for a contest or something, no chance. You have to give it time when you can put everything in, for a long period of time. That's why I'd say.
You look
Oh,
back,
yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And if you could go back, what would you change?
I don't know. That's hard, 'cause I've really enjoyed the journey. There's been loads of tough bits, but they've all been learning experiences.
That question is always a funny one, because
Yeah.
you're almost like changing.
I don't
You're going to be
think I'd
changing
wanna-
who you are now, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to change anything, to be honest. I like the fact I had to work really hard back then. I do like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Everything's just perfect.
Wouldn't
In terms
looking back
in
at
terms
the
of
time,
growth.
100% not. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really hard work. I didn't always want to work. I don't know. I can't remember a time thinking I really don't want to go in today. I was always happy to go in and work.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think there's anything I'd really want to change looking back. But I would be much more focused on getting good people, because that would help me grow much more quickly.
Okay.
Can we quick fire the cars that you've owned? Because me and Joey are into cars. We love
Yeah,
cars.
that's one thing I really annoyed me on Facebook, because I had an album on there with all going back a long time. So
You can actually pay. You can pay somebody to retrieve that information. There's services which actually
Well, I
track it
got
down.
this ISIS thing. I looked at my Facebook one day. There's this
What?
ISIS picture, ISIS flags and things. That's weird. And then within an hour, it was gone. Never come back. And I googled it. Other people had exactly the same thing, and they talked their story of how they tried to get it back, had weeks and weeks, months of trying to get it back, didn't get it. I read that and thought, I haven't got time, just not going to bother. Facebook's gone. No, I'll never set it up again. But I now had a good album. But when I started the business, I was earning decent money with the food equipment place, because that was the other thing. It was a massive step down when I was doing overtime there, and I was earning pretty good money for, what was it, 28, 29. To suddenly earning virtually no money.
Yeah.
So I bought an MR2. I had one of the sort of newer back then MR2s. It would have been a 1997 MR2 that I loved. I bought that, and that's what I had when I started the business. And then, I had that when I started the business, and I paid for it. So I didn't have anything owing. So I kept that when I was running the business. And then I think it was about 4 years in, I always wanted a TVR. I love TVRs.
Yeah.
So I bought a TVR Cerbera, was my first proper fast car, 4.5 Cerbera. And funny story with that, what's that car show where they do a
Top Hot Rod, is it?
no?
Is it a UK show? Or,
Yeah.
not Ed China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
What was it called? Wheeler Dealers? Or?
Yeah, Wheeler Dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, years. So I had my Cerbera, sold it to fund the business. Years later, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, somebody said to me, "Oh, it's Wheeler Dealers have done a Cerbera." So I thought, "I'll watch that. That'd be good," because I love my Cerbera. I really love that car. Watched it. I thought, that's mine. That's my Cerbera. So I tracked down the guy that bought it off them, and I bought it back. I had it for ages. I had it over in my gym, so I had it over there. So and then when we moved here, I sold it again. So Cerbera was first car. Then I got the Tuscan S, another TVR, Tuscan S. Love those. Then had, I think it was a Gallardo.
Yeah.
Then had a Murcielago, bright green with green interior Murcielago. Then I had my first Bentley. I've had 4 Bentleys. I had my first Bentley, one of the 2006 black, really nice car. The other ones I haven't been so impressed with, the newer ones. Last year I had one of the new ones which had a lot of issues with.
Was it blue?
So impressed. No, one was silver. It's, with a black pack. It looked cool, looked nice. Ferraris had the 599,
Nice.
which was nice, big V12,
One
big
of my
engine,
favourite-
front engine. Had a the one before the 458, 430. Aston Martin Vantage, the V8 Vantage, which
Yeah.
I loved the look and the sound of.
Sounds amazing.
Was really great, but a little bit underpowered. But
Okay.
nice, really nice car. I sold that when we had our first son, just 2-seat, obviously, and then sold that when I had my son. I've had a few cars. Not had a McLaren. Not had McLaren. Yeah,
The guys I used to work with, they're developers. They've had some quite cool cars like Ferraris. They had a 720S on order, and then they decided not to go through with that. I think that's because they got issues, haven't they?
a lot of
with McLarens.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, they actually bought 458 Speciale back when they first came out new,
Yeah.
and then they tracked that down again and recently
Oh,
brought
really?
it back. Yeah.
Because that's one car now. We've looked to buy it, 458. It's been last of the normally aspirated Ferraris, and they are going up in value.
Yeah.
So if you can buy one at a good price, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing to hold.
Amazing.
I don't think I'll ever buy a car again where they're depreciating.
Yeah.
It's just
The craziest car I've been is a F12. The F12 is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I do like, because that's after my 599.
Yeah.
Then the F12 came out, and now the 812 was super fast, which
That
I
looks even
do
more
I do
insane.
love. Yeah, I do. I look at cars like that and think, I would like that, but then I sort of.
Do you know what I reckon the
Can't
best
get
car
over
for the
it.
money is a GT4, a manual GT4 Porsche.
I've never been into Porsche.
Really?
Never been into Porsche at all. Yeah, and from what I understand, they're great, really
Incredible.
good cars. Use them every day,
Yeah.
really good. But it's just never really done it for me. Porsches. So yeah, I've liked more Italian and British.
Sometimes they're too clinical, aren't they? They're too good.
A bit too
almost.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want someone that kicks
want
you a
some-
bit and
Yeah.
gives you a bit of
That's what I like with TBIs. There's no traction, no ABS or anything. You know,
So they were all like manual.
completely manual.
Yeah.
Like, massively overpowered. Yeah, really light bodywork and everything. Really light car.
Yeah.
With a massive engine, rear wheel drive. Just you just drive it sideways, basically everywhere you go. Sideways. Everywhere.
In
Good
terms of
fun.
watches, that watch was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think
One of my favorite watches.
What's your best watch that you've got? If you don't mind that.
the best is the gold 41 mil Royal Oak I've got on a blue strap. I bought that second hand for, don't like talking money, but I bought it for 28 grand. And my wife said to me, I said, it's an investment. And then it's dropped down now, but that went over 100 grand. Like
What?
a year, I could have sold it over a year ago for over 100 grand. Now they dropped down to about 90. They're holding 90.
That's still
But
That's
I mean,
ridiculous.
really good. All the APs I've got have all gone up. That's the best one. But they've all gone up.
Is that your daily sort of?
No, not daily. Generally, I've got a Batman I wear
I love
daily,
Batmans.
generally, because they scratch up. So if you knock it, they do scratch up a lot. The Rolex, generally, Submariners, GMTs and stuff, you can knock them around and they still look pretty good. They're quite robust.
And they're meant
So
to be more desirable if they've got wear. In you know, it's history, isn't it? It's weird.
yeah, I think with a lot, I've seen these with a lot of scratches and things. They just look a bit ropey. So
So what have you
yeah,
got? You've got
I've got this is the elephant. I've got the rose gold. I've got the ceramic blue. We got. I'll show you some
sure.
pictures after. The blue. It's the only AP I bought new from an AP boutique in London. And it's the only one that hasn't really gone up. It's kind of sat around. Well, it's gone up a little bit, but sat around where I paid. And I liked it at the time. This is why it's one AP I'm not so keen on now. It's quite chunky. It's quite big. Really resilient. It's ceramic, so you can knock it around. That's good. Got Bumblebee.
I don't know the Bumblebee.
Rolex is just a Batman. Is the Rolex? And then got quite a few Panerais.
They're really
IWC,
nice.
Portuguese, IWC, I really like. The IW, I remember buying the IWC 14 years ago or something. I've had an IWC, and for a little bit more money, I had a Nautilus.
Yeah.
And I was deciding between the two. There's only a bit more for Nautilus. I thought, no, I really love the IWC, the Portuguese.
Yeah.
I'd always seen it with the blue numbering.
I think I know the one you mean. Yeah.
So I went with that, which is now dropped probably 3,000 or 4,000 from what I paid for it. And if I'd gone for the Nautilus, now that would be close to 200 grand.
Really?
That watch for the same price. So
It's nuts.
made a mistake there.
So obviously you got your name down for the Sprite. What else do you want?
3 APs. I got my name down on. I can't get my name down for a Nautilus. I'd love to, but nobody will even put your name down.
Really?
I think the wait list got up to 10 years or something, and then they just keep it.
What a position to be in, man.
I remember going into the shop that I bought. This is a shop in Bath, Mallory's Jewelers. That was the shop where I was holding a Nautilus, deciding what to buy. So I went in there a few years later and said, "All right, I thought about it. I'm going to buy a Nautilus. Have you got one in stock?" Or they're like,
"Who's laughing?"
Yeah, sure.
It's crazy.
I don't mind if it's 3 years. I don't mind. No,
not a chance.
Absolutely no chance. So yeah.
So do you like watches more than cars?
Yeah. Because of how they go up in value, and I don't know, not like more than cars, but if I could get the right car that would hold its value.
Yeah.
Trouble I like driving. All the cars I've had, I've always driven. I've never just put them away.
Left in the garage, sort of thing.
Yeah. So they will.
What's the best driving car?
The Ferrari, the 599 was miles ahead of anything at the time. It was so advanced. It just, in terms of driving fast, it was so advanced, but just it's just too far. All the English cars now are too fast unless you're going to track them.
Yeah,
they are so.
That's what I've noticed. Being at them, you're stuck behind traffic all the time.
Well, I used to, because I was always happened so many times coming into work. So leave at 4 o'clock, read nothing, and it's just busy all the time.
Yeah. And
now, if you do drive fast, I'm always, sometimes drive a bit fast, but you're always careful, and you. But you just somebody coming the other way on a straight road, there's no danger. And they're like, flash you, or you go too fast.
Yeah.
Just you can't have any fun there. So.
Yeah. I noticed as well, you've got like a track car or something that's, I don't really know the story behind it.
Go-kart. My go-kart. Yeah, I used to do a lot of karting. Now, one of our welders, Will, he races in a GT car. So we've sponsored him with his Peugeot.
That's wicked.
So it's all logoed up. Yeah, all logoed up.
So you go watch the races and stuff? Or
I haven't. I've been away every time one's been on, and the other ones in the season are quite far up north. So I don't know if I'll be able to get to one, but I'd see all the videos and follow him.
That must be quite cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's good fun. I've always been into it. When I was younger, I always thought that I could have been a Formula One driver. I always felt that, because if we ever went karting or anything, I'd always win. I'd always do really well. So 15 years ago or something, I thought, I'm going to get into karting. So I went into, it's called Formula Blue, quite a sort of high end of karting. Got into that, did quite well at club level, And then I started going to like national meetings, and you see these drivers, and they are so good. And it was nice because it made me realise there's no way,
No hope.
absolutely no.
Is that when you were building the business?
Yeah, yeah.
Did that take any time away from the business?
Yeah, on weekends, and that was the other thing. You had to be there every weekend. You couldn't plan it. You had to be there all the time. And I realised I didn't have time to put into it. But it was nice because it made me realise even if I did put all the time I had into it, I haven't got what it takes to be anywhere like. So every now and then you'll have like the perfect lap. You hit every apex, just perfect. But
You're still like a few seconds off.
They're doing it every single time, every time. And you just the mindset you need for that.
Yeah.
I haven't got. So it was nice. So after that, I didn't feel like I've missed out on some incredible, Formula One career.
I reckon we'll probably have to wrap it up now because we've got a limit on some of our cameras. So thanks for obviously taking the time.
It's been great speaking to you. It's been really good. We enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad. Where can people, find you? Or
so we're watsongym.co.uk, emailing pretty much anything, sales at watsongym.co.uk, info@watsongym.co.uk will all come through to us here. Instagram is at Watson Gym or at Watson Gym Equipment, as is TikTok.
Yeah. We'll put all the links in the description and on the screen or whatever. But yeah, you got a good YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, we're trying to build that up. We've just taken somebody on now who's doing all our social media, somebody in-house, which we've never had before. So I hope we really build up our social media and make it a lot more interesting and show a lot of the stuff that people don't see.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be good.
No, it's been great. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.